Hi everyone, Dave here, Fit and Healthy Forever. Seems a while since I did a video. I've put my ones on from Barcelona, which we had a fantastic time, so I thought I'd check in and do another video. This one I've called Misinformed Comments. Now these are things that over the years of working in gyms and using gyms, I've heard these comments, and I don't think people understand how silly they sound sometimes, but it's to do with education basically. You'll probably see that as we go through them. There's 12 comments here. I'm just going to briefly touch on each one and why I think it's not relevant, shall we say. So it's a bit misinformed. So the first one is, I haven't got time to go to the gym. Now, to me, 3 1-hour sessions a week, you could get by, and you could make some progress with that. You could make some progress. It's what you do when you're in the gym, not how many times you go. So if people say to me they haven't got 3 hours a week, when you've got Pure Gym open 24 hours, I've done it with a family. I've done it when I was working. It's easier for me now. Yes, of course it is. I've got the time on my hands, but there's also things you can do at home. I've put bits and pieces on about doing exercising at home, and also there's a lot of stuff online on YouTube that you can have a look at where you can do exercise routines at home. So you've got the same 24 hours in the day that I've got and that I've always had. So if you can't find 3 hours a week, you have to look at it and say, how much do I value my health? That's the way I look at it. How much do I value my health? Because as we go through, you might find there's 1 or 2 things on here that will tell you that how beneficial it is to your health. So the second one is, these are in no particular order, by the way. The next one I've got is, I don't want to lift weights because I don't want to get huge or muscular. Listen, I've been lifting weights for getting close to 30 years now, and I've never been huge and muscular. And anybody who wants to train with me can do. I do train my ass off. First of all, you have to be genetically gifted to get huge and muscular, or you have to take what they call PEDs, performance enhancing drugs. That's the only way most people are going to get huge and muscular. So, especially, I've touched on this before with you girls out there, don't be afraid to lift weights. You will not get huge and muscular. I will guarantee it. Unless you're taking something, you will not get huge and muscular. Go out there and lift your ass off. You will reap the benefits, I promise you. The next one is, I use light weights and high reps because I just want to tone. Now, to me, having trained for a lot of years, toning and building muscle is exactly the same thing, in the respect that you have to stimulate the muscle fibre. So whether you're toning or whether you're building muscle, you still have to stimulate the muscle fibre. The only way you can stimulate it is by giving it more resistance than it's used to. So if you could curl 10 pounds and you just keep curling 10 pounds, then your muscle's going to stay that size, or that amount of tone, if you want to call it that. If you start using 11 or 12 or 13 and build up, you will get more tone and a little bit bigger muscle. But you can control how big that muscle gets, because if you think it's getting too big, you just back off with the weights. But you need to be honest with yourself, and don't lift light weights just because you don't want to get big, because to me that's not training hard and lifting your ass off, and you're wasting your money in a gym if that's all you want to do, for me. So girls especially, you will not get huge, you will not get muscular. Lift your ass off. I've seen you can find girls on YouTube. Anybody knows Sarah Wright, who used to work at Bet365? She does clean snatches, tremendous weights, and she's not huge and muscular. So you've got to put this in perspective. The next one, I go jogging to lose some weight. I've done a video on what they call, shall we say, steady state cardio, which is jogging, as against high intensity interval training, which is bouts of fast and then slow. And if you watch that, you shouldn't be jogging just to lose weight, because you're going to lose muscle as well, and muscle regulates your metabolism. The more muscle you've got, the faster your metabolism, because muscle can only survive through your metabolism, can only survive through burning calories. So your muscle will help you to burn more calories. So you need to get some muscle tone. So when you're just doing jogging and you're not doing any resistance training, you're going to start losing muscle, and that's going to down-regulate your metabolism, and it defeats the object of what you're trying to achieve. So then the next one, this one, every time I see it on Facebook I smile at this one. I'm going back to Weight Watchers or Slimming Wheel because it worked last time. Okay, let's think about this logically. If it worked last time, why do you need to go back? If something's worked, you don't need to go back and revisit it. That's logical to me. Weight Watchers, Slimming World, I know I go on and on about them. They are not healthy to me. Okay, have a look at Slimming World and Weight Watchers. Do they tell you how much fibre you should be getting a day? Do they tell you your salt to potassium intake and why salt intake alone is irrelevant? It doesn't cause high blood pressure. There's differences. You need to look at it. Also, if you have a look at some of the ready-made meals that they do, which I've had a look at in certain shops, because they need a shelf life like any pre-prepared food, they've got preservatives and added salt and stuff like that that help it have a shelf life. So it's not freshly made. It's what you might call, for a lot of people, an easy way out. Take the time. It's worth the time to prepare your own food. I do it every day. I've always done it. People who know me know I always took vegetable dinners to work, and I've always eaten healthy. You can do it. Just take control of your health. Don't leave it to, oh, I'll nip in Iceland and get a ready meal, or I'll go and get a pizza. And just take some control over your health. So Weight Watchers, Slimming World, you'll always have an exception to the rule of people who say it's worked for them. But there was something I was reading once. They said the reason Weight Watchers, Slimming World don't have 12-month reunions is because the majority of people put the weight back on, so there'll be nobody there. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. That's something I read. If you're happy to keep doing that, to me it's called yo-yo dieting. You'll go there for so many weeks and you'll drop a few pounds because they're restricting your calories, and then you'll go off the rails because you'll be starving hungry, and then you'll put the weight back on, so you'll revisit it again, and it's like a vicious circle. I'll be doing another video shortly on why you're always hungry for carbs, and that'll explain some of what I'm saying now. The next one, I just want to lose my belly, that's all. Now, you cannot spot reduce body fat. Your body, when it starts to lose fat, if you're doing the right things, it will take it from where it wants to. You can't just say, okay body, take it from there, I just want to lose this. Or body, take it from there, I just want to lose it. It doesn't work like that. Your body will take it from wherever. So you get an overall healthy, nutritious diet, you exercise regular, and your body will gradually lose that weight from where you want it. But it may not be straight away. Normally the place you want it to go from is probably the last place it's going to come from. So it's a lifestyle. Don't do it for a few weeks and think, I haven't lost my belly, it doesn't work for me. You need to treat it as a lifestyle. Change the way you do things. The next one. I don't squat or deadlift because I've got bad knees and a bad back. I must have heard this a million times. Look, when you're squatting and deadlifting, nobody's saying you've got to lift 100, 200, 300 kilos. The only way to strengthen your back or strengthen your knees is to use resistance exercise. But it doesn't have to be really heavy stuff. You can start off just using body weight and do it. And if you watch a child pick something up off the floor, more often than not they'll squat down like a squat position. It's a natural movement for your body. Do it with body weight. I started off using years and years ago using a brush tail across my back till I got the technique down before I started picking up a metal bar with weights on. Don't be afraid to just go in and do body weight exercises to start with, but you need to be progressing later on as you become proficient at it and a bit stronger. So to me, that is a lame excuse. I'm sorry. There might be 1 or 2 people out there that this does apply to, but it's not the majority of people. I'm sorry to say that. The other next one, I just use machines because it has the same effect as free weights. No, it doesn't. Machines do have a place. I use machines. They do have a place in your training regime. When you're doing things like squats, free weight squats and deadlifts, they use every muscle in your body. When you stand, I'll be doing a video on squatting shortly. And when you squat, every muscle in your body has to tighten and contract. Everything from your shoulders to your biceps to your abs, your core, your backside, everything, if you're doing it properly, has to contract and tense. You don't get that from machines. They're in a fixed plane, so you could sit there relaxed and just push the machine and the weight's meant to go and think you're doing everything right. It does have a place. It's a nice change from the usual, but don't give up on free weight exercises. They use stabilizer muscles. So if you're doing a shoulder press with dumbbells, you're using all your rotator cuffs and your shoulder stabilizing muscles in the back of your shoulders to stabilize everything. Those muscles don't get used, or very rarely, with machines. So you do need to be doing free weight exercises. The next one, I've heard this a million times. I don't eat a bad diet, it's quite healthy really. Okay, you need to know how much fibre you're getting a day. You need to know how much salt and potassium you're getting a day. You need to stop having processed foods which are full of preservatives, tin foods and pizzas and ready meals. And I know it's quick and easy, and I know it tastes nice, but that's because of the preservatives and salt in it that give it shelf life. It's not nutritious. So again, get some information, get knowledge. Knowledge is power. If you get some knowledge, it doesn't have to be off me, go elsewhere and get the knowledge. Cross-reference with what I'm telling you if you want, and tweak your diet. Some people may have to tweak it, some people may have to overhaul it. But if you've got a good diet and you exercise, you should be quite fit and healthy, and you shouldn't be having any sort of issues with every time the flu comes around. I worked in an office, people who know me, and every time they got a sniffle or a cold, oh, it's this office, it's the germs in here, but one person brings it in, everybody gets it. I never got it. If your immune system is fortified, you won't get it as bad, or you won't get it at all. It's because your immune system isn't fortified enough to deal with it, and that comes from your diet. So everything goes back to your diet. I keep saying that. Next one. I was in Wayne Walker's really. This is how misinformed some people are. I was in Wayne Walker's recently, getting some meat, and the guy was coming round with a big tray of chips, and he said, "Oh, try one of these." I said, "No thanks, I'm okay." He said, "Try them, they're low fat, they're healthy." Now, since when has low fat been healthy? The majority, I think your brain is 60% fat. You've got fat all around your organs. Why are people going? We've been doing low fat since I think it was 1984, and the nation has got fatter and fatter and fatter and fatter. So how come the low fat diet isn't working? Low fat on a food label normally means high sugar. Sugar's your enemy. You don't need to be shoving loads of sugars in. Spike your insulin, you're going to have an inflammatory diet, and you're going to have diseases one after the other. Low fat is not the way to go. You need to get, again, knowledge. Look at your knowledge. Look at intermittent fasting, look at the ketogenic diet. Carbs can have a place in your diet if you like them, but you need to use them strategically around times when you're going to use them, you're going to burn them for energy, because that's all carbs do. They're an energy source, nothing else, full stop. Your brain doesn't need them, you can use ketones. No part of your body needs them, they're just an energy source. If you're not burning those as energy, they will be stored as fat, fact, and I've said it a million times. So you need to get some knowledge, cut your carbs down if you don't want to give them up altogether. Try and use organic, fresh, good carbs, and use them strategically around times when you're going to be active. The next one, I need to get down to my target weight. I'm trying hard here not to be flippant about these things. What is a target weight? A BMI? BMI is bullshit, because it doesn't take into account that if you've got a little bit of muscle tone. I was classed as obese when I went to the doctors a few years ago, registered with a new doctor. I had to have what they call a wellness check over, and the nurse, who herself was about 18 stone, told me that I was obese according to the BMI. Now, anybody who knows me out there, have I ever been obese or looked obese? I don't think I have. The BMI doesn't take into account if you've got a bit of muscle tone. It's bullshit. Target weight, what you try and do, you try and get down to what you were when you were 10 years old. Probably not going to happen. Look, if you see somebody walking down the street, you don't say, oh my God, he must be 10 stone, or oh, she must be 12 stone. You look at someone, you may look at what they wear, and you say, oh, she looks really good, or she looks horrendous, or he looks fantastic, he does. He's an Adonis, or God, look at the state of him, his belly hanging out, or something along them lines. You never say, God, she must be wearing size 20 there, or she must be 18 stone, or he must be this, or he must be that. You just don't, it doesn't come into your head. You don't look at somebody and put a target weight on them. Who knows what weight? I don't even know what I weigh these days. I could guess within 4 or 5 pounds, but it's irrelevant. It's how you look and how your body performs. It's nothing to do with what your target weight is. It's bullshit. Just need to get it out of your head. It's a sales pattern, I'm sure it is, with Weight Watchers and Slimming World, because there's no such bloody thing. And the last one I just wanted to touch on, I only do cardio, I don't do weights, as they make me big and muscular. Touched on it earlier. If you're just doing cardio and nothing else, you are severely missing out. You really are. You need muscle tone for your metabolism to stay racing and to look better. What's wrong with having a bit of muscle tone? Nobody's saying you've got to be huge. Women with a little bit of muscle tone and look slim and lean and fit and healthy, they look amazing. And then you'll see them in the gym, some of them, oh, I only do this much, I do 25 reps with this, with a can of beans, and blokes are the same. I'm just doing 20 reps because I just want tone. Please, I think toning was invented as a get out when gym instructors are saying to women, use weights in the gym. Because as soon as you say to women, start lifting weights, they're like, oh, don't want to be big. And I think that's where it's come from. Because I had a girl say to me once in the gym, she says, as soon as I lift weights, as soon as I touch weights, my shoulders go like this. So I said to her, can you show me that? Because I'd love to get my shoulders like that. I really would. And she thought I was being flippant. Look, there's no such thing. There's no such thing as toning. It's just, for me anyway, it's just, as I said, toning and building muscles are the same thing. Either way, you've got to stimulate the muscle, but you can control it. You can say, okay, that's as big as I want to be now. I'm just going to maintain that with the same weights. That's fine. But when you're trying to get into shape, to the shape that you want, just using the same equivalent to a can of beans and just keep lifting all the time, it's going nowhere. So please take some of this on board, because I've heard these a million times. And to be fair, there's 1 or 2 of these that I was into when I first started training, until I decided to try and get myself a bit more educated, a bit more knowledge. I didn't know toning was the same thing, but to me it is. If anybody wants to contradict that, that's fine. But toning and building muscle is the same thing. You can control it. You still got to stimulate the muscle fibers. So I know it's a bit of a rant, but I want people to be educated. I want people to get themselves a bit healthier, try and change the way you eat and the way you exercise. And it's not difficult. And I've said before, it's hard to explain how good it feels. It really is. And I've had this from 2 people I've been working with recently, that one of them lifts weights and the other one's on intermittent fasting, losing weight. And there's a total of 8 people I've been watching over using intermittent fasting, and every single one of them has said how good it is and how much better they feel, how much weight they're losing. And a shout out there to Andy Filmer. That guy looks amazing. And not only does he look a lot leaner than he's ever done, he looks healthy. And that's the big thing for me. Dropping weight for the sake of dropping weight, looking gaunt, looking pale and thin, No, you need to be healthy with it. Anybody can just drop weight, just starve yourself. It's easy, but it's not healthy. Andy Filmer, well done, mate. You're honestly, you're a good guy. And I've seen photos of him on Facebook, and he looks fantastic. And fair play to him. He's put the time and the effort in. And anyone can do it. It's not just restricted to certain people, but put some effort in. Change some things in your life. Try and get yourself fitter and healthier. One last little thing I've mentioned before. We go on about the health service and hospitals not having enough beds in hospitals. If a few more people just took control of their own health and fitness, then people probably in the future wouldn't need a hospital bed. So, you know, you could get hospital beds down by just taking a bit more control of your own destiny, trying to be healthier, fitter, eat proper foods, exercise a bit more, get the correct sleep and recuperation. It's not difficult. Okay, rant over. As I say always, thanks ever so much anyone who bothers to listen to this. You can cross-reference, come back to me, tell me it's bullshit and why, or tell me it's good and why. But I just hope it helps some people to just do something different, change their lives. You can go around supermarkets now and you watch what people put in the trolleys and you see how big some people are, and you just think, it's just not that difficult to turn things around. You don't have to be starving yourself and restricting. Anyway, enough of that for now. Till the next video, like and subscribe if you like what you're seeing, and pass it on to your friends if you like it. Stay fit and healthy forever, and thanks again for listening in. Thank you.